Trump, Israel, and soy-occupied governance. The DOJ, or not DOJ, but the DOD, rather, the Department of Defense, has signaled Operation Epic Fury. Woo! Yeah, so this is an operation that's being conducted by a joint Israeli and American fucking task force with the express purpose of going after Iran's nuclear sites, more of their drone capacities, missile defenses, air defenses. A bunch of different sites are also getting hit as well. But primary targets, missile production, missile defense, drone production, as well as nuclear sites. Again, so guys, remember when I basically said that, under the, dog shit, ridiculous, initial strike that happened by both the Israelis and also the United States of America. So, obviously, very easy for them to get air superiority over Iran, given the fact that their air defense capacities have probably not been completely restored to their full sort of capacities after the first attack. And every single military expert was saying, yeah, these attacks haven't really accomplished much of anything. If anything, the Iranians are probably going to be delayed by a couple of months, and that's really about it. Looking at our time. Yeah, it's been more than definitely a couple of months, and in terms of the Iranian fucking centrifuges, in terms of, being able to create fissile material for a bomb, they were, delayed by only a couple of months. Shocker, I know. Because we know that the United States has a direct line of contact to Iran in order to be able to talk with the Iranians about, the attack that they were doing. Because, again, if they dropped any of those big-ass bunker buster bombs and hit any fissile material and kicked that stuff up into the air, and it gets caught in the air currents, it should really go without saying just how much of a fucking disaster that could be. And just how bad that would be, period, end of story. So, obviously, follow-up strikes have now been happening by the Israelis and the U.S. There's been a massive buildup of U.S. naval and air assets in the area, air defenses and countermeasures for the inevitable sort of Iranian counterstrike that would have happened because of this massive military buildup that's been happening, right? And basically, a bunch of different areas have been struck. Presidential building, Minister of Intelligence, some of the targets. Everyone's declaring, of course, states of emergency in anticipation of retaliation and of the attacks. And from what I understand, there has been negotiations that have been going on between both the Iranians and also the Americans for the past several weeks. Put a pin in that, because we're going to get back to that, right? So, obviously, given the attacks that have just happened on a lot of the Iranians' capabilities, it turns out the strikes, the diplomacy accomplished basically absolutely fucking nothing. But here, we have the big man himself talking about Operation Epic Fury. Why don't we take a look?
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world.
Okay, real quick. I thought that the Iranian proxies were basically effectively disarmed, and there was not really much of them operating within the Middle East, because he's directly said this before. So, which is it? There's still a danger. They're barely operating. What's going on here exactly, right? You have to ask yourself several questions, because we're getting a little bit of inconsistencies here.
For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass...
I don't think we really have to talk about why Iran may have said stuff like death to America, quote unquote, The reason for as to why they did that is because of all of the US's actions, imperialist actions that have been going on consistently throughout the region. Iranians aren't the only ones that have been saying this. This is a broader sort of attitude that's adopted throughout the Middle East because the United States just keeps running around and just bombing the shit out of people in the Middle East, and they're not particularly happy about that. I know that's like a really difficult concept for these people to understand, but, shocker, I know.
Murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran...
I wonder why they might have done that. Oh, probably because of Desert Storm. Shocker.
Proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes.
By the way, I'm going to say this real quick. Doing an attacks like this on Iran directly is not going to improve that situation. If anything, it's just going to exacerbate it. Because guess what? And we'll get to why it's going to get actually even worse than what I'm going to say right now. If you just attack the main country, what is Iran going to do? They're going to order all of these proxies that they supposedly have, and that they do have a bunch of proxies, but they're going to order them to do a counterattack against American military bases. That's already going on right now, given the attacks that have just happened as a result of the Israeli, not Iranian, but the U.S.-Israeli strike on Iran. There's going to be a huge... the IRGC themselves said, you know what? We're going mask off. We're just going to do it. We're just going to do fucking attacks. Fuck this bullshit. We've tried diplomacy, we've talked with you guys constantly, and it's basically done absolutely fucking nothing. It's just okay, it's stupid. I don't think 90% of Americans are supporting the strike, Boy Meets Mini. I think your instincts on that are completely off. Most of the people, nobody wants this. You remember nah, it's not happening. 90% of Americans are definitely not supporting these strikes. Trump has not done the exact same manufacturing of consent in order to talk about the plight of and how spooky and scary the terrorist is. Also, everyone right now remembers how much of a disaster Iraq was, and they see Iran as the same thing as Iraq. So no one is... They're just ew, no, fuck off. No, absolutely the fuck not. And also, Trump is very, very fucking unpopular. There's no fucking way. His cult is always going to support them, but that's because that's his cult. But even amongst the Republicans, there's going to be people who are not going to be particularly big fans of this. Again, a bunch of conservatives are infighting about this right now. No one... I don't think anyone in particular is really, really happy about these strikes going on within Iran. 90% of Americans supporting this? Absolutely, no. No shot.
It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer. From Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and
militias.
And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering...
Yeah, because of the Abrahamic Accords that you guys negotiated that kept the Palestinians out of the deal. Yeah, that's why they did that. They did that because of the Abrahamic Accords, and they felt like they had no other recourse to go forward with besides, time to, like an animal cornered in a cage or stuck in a corner, it's time for us to lash out.
More than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again, they can never have a nuclear weapon.
Bad news there for you, buddy. First off, in terms of the tens of thousands that have been killed, I know that the Iranian state media has said it's significantly less than that. Can't trust them at all in terms of their numbers. They have incentives to lie as well, but so does the United States of America as well, in terms of the numbers that have been killed, in terms of the amount of protesters that have been killed as a result of the IRGC doing reprisal against them, right? Without a shadow of a doubt. The problem is that these guys are trying to use this as like a pathetic attempt to try to manufacture consent for a potential invasion, because they've done this before. But problem here, and I think maybe we'll get into this sort of concept. Well, we'll get into this right now. Here, the problem specifically here with what Trump is essentially trying to do is he knows that he can't put boots on the ground, right? That's not fucking happening. That would be way too unpopular. There's already people talking about, whoa, we're at war with Iran. This is fucking dog shit. What the fuck is going on? No one wants this. Like, why are we doing this? Because Israel and, the United States have declared, quote unquote, total war upon Iran. So take with that what you will. So it's fairly obvious and clear this shit's not going to be popular. If boots actually were to go on the ground, that's going to be the final nail in the coffin of the already sinking Trump political movement. It's over. No other way to go forward besides even further down into the depths of hell. What essentially Trump wants is he wants to use the Iranian protesters as boots on the ground proxies instead of Americans. More than likely, this is just going to consist of an air campaign. That's going to be really, really easy for the Americans to do, considering the fact that the capacities in terms of air defenses and and other capabilities for the Iranians have been significantly diminished because of the first attack, right? So, as a result of that specifically, it makes it such that it's going to be easy for them to provide air support and just, bomb the shit out of Iranian targets, because the Iranians can't really put up an effective resistance against, U.S. fucking air power that's currently in the area.
That is why, in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil.
Let's put a pin in this right now, because it turns out bullshit. He's lying here. Joint U.S.-Israeli operation planned for months. Daylight attack intended to surprise Iran. And that's exactly what happened. And as per Reuters right here, the Israeli operation against Iran on Saturday was coordinated with the U.S., an Israeli defense official told Reuters. The operation was planned for months and the launch date was decided weeks ago, the official said. And this is from an Israeli defense official who's saying this to Reuters. The negotiations, just like the first time around, were completely fucking pointless. We all remember, 7 rounds of negotiations happened before the Israelis started doing the attacks upon Iranian air defenses and other sort of missile production capabilities as well. And then, the B-2s came in to do their LARPy bombing of the nuclear sites, which accomplished absolutely nothing, as every military expert said. The continued enrichment of the uranium that was still happening a few months later after Operation Midnight Hammer, which made Trump soy out so hard, because he's like, look, I did such a great strike. The big strike, it's so good, folks. Most pro-peace president by bombing the shit out of people. It's so good, folks. We love it, don't we, folks? Trump being a fucking hypocrite? Shocker, I know, he's being a hypocrite and lying. Who would have thought? Such a crazy, crazy, crazy thing, right? It makes it such that a lot of the bullshit that he's saying here rings rather fucking hollow. Very, 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 very fucking hollow. Because all of the negotiations that these motherfuckers were doing were more than likely for the express purpose of buying time. It was a bunch of fucking bullshit. These guys are all fucking liars.
But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore.
The funny thing called the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, which was actually doing that, where the Iranians were following the deal to a fucking T, out of the 11 times that they got inspected by the IAEA, right, which is the International Atomic Energy Association, run by the UN. They sent inspectors in there. They passed the test of the tenets of the deal from the inspectors of the IAEA 11 fucking times. And what did this motherfucker do? Like, one of the first things when he got into office, was fucking tear that deal up. Why? Because he was mad about the fact that, Obama was the guy who fucking signed it, and he wanted to sign something instead, because we're dealing with a petty narcissist here, guys.
Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas.
You don't care about Europe.
The American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message.
I mean, you've made the exact same argument before for North Korea, and they're not getting bombed. They definitely have nuclear weapons, and no one's fucking with them specifically. Well, there's still like a rogue state that's mostly being reined in by China specifically, so... I've said this before, but I would not have a problem with the Iranians having a nuke, because the Iranians, in terms of how they conduct themselves on a geopolitical sort of aspect, they have been consistently, and I mean consistently, having like extreme restraint in fucking measure in comparison to that of the Americans and also the fucking Israelis.
For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests. We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We are going to annihilate their navy. We are going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no...
I don't know how many times... I thought they were already fucking gone after, like, Hamas got owned, Hezbollah got owned, and a bunch of other people got owned. Like, the Houthis also got... What happened? Well, I thought all the proxies were basically gone. What happened? There's a reason why the nebulous term of proxies is basically being used here. It's in order to justify the constant requests being made by the Israelis for the, not the Iranians, but for the U.S. to still stay in the region after the fact they've just been wanting to leave the region. Like, that's, like, literally it. Yeah, like, I mean, the only way the Israeli economy is able to exist is through war, through military-industrial complex bullshit. Like, that's literally the point. And guess what? A lot of complicated interests, mostly that of the military-industrial complex, have made it such that they want to stay in war with Iran. For what purpose exactly? Just so they can, well, keep the money printer going, keep the military contracts going, keep buying more and more equipment from Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, Boeing, and all the other military contractors and companies that exist within the United States of America.
No longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans. And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might.
I believe every single expert has now been basically saying that, yeah, we could have done this through diplomacy, but that's not going to fucking happen anymore because of all these strikes that are going on right now. Like, it's just not going to accomplish anything. Like, this is accomplishing the exact opposite thing that these dumbasses wanted.
Might of the United States Armed Forces. I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration.
And it's such a good job.
There's no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties.
Nah, that's not really a great look there, buddy, if you may be saying that. By the way, hey, Boy Meets Mini, when you were saying that people are going to be approving of this, I think that just made the approval rating go down by at least fucking 80 points right there. People do not like casualties happening within war, especially American casualties. That's going to make people way less interested in being able to pursue this shit. Like, him just immediately fucking admitting to there's going to be casualties, people are going to die, it's war, that's just how it is, folks, is going to be a really bad look, and is going to make it such that, people are going to be way less interested in military operations. Well, again, Boy Meets Mini, the conditions that were going on within Iraq was way different. 9/11 happened, and then do you know how many years it was used to that the Bush administration, Colin Powell and all of them, used that in order to manufacture consent for the war in Iraq? About a year and a half to 2 years. Year and a half to 2 years was what happened, right? This is just like immediate fucking bullshit here. Like, Trump didn't do any of that stuff. He's being rather naked and fucking brazen for that.
That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble
for the future, folks.
We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust...
Yeah, but 10-7 is a little different in this particular respect, Boy Meets Mini, right? They're talking about Iran's nuclear program to justify these strikes. 10-7 is a fucking, side note in all of this. Complete fucking side note. This is about the Iranian nuclear program.
That, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms, you will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death.
Who the fuck, okay, what the fuck are you talking about here? Who? Like, who? How the fuck does this work? Yeah, Lord Farquaad looking head ass. Yeah, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice that Israel is willing to make, of course. Who are they gonna have immunity from? From the International Tribunal? From Israel? From you? Why should they trust you? Why should they trust anything that you have to say in terms of any of this stuff? Because you've just been running around like a chicken with its head cut off, just randomly fucking bombing people. What the fuck is this shit? Okay, dude, nice meme.
Finally, to the great proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered, don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside, bombs will be dropping everywhere. When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
So, exactly what I fucking said. Trump knows that boots on the ground is not going to be a pill that the American people are going to want to swallow. So he wants to use the Iranian civilians against the Iranian fucking government in order to use them as a proxy to overthrow Iran. Genuinely fucking insane. Yeah, I mean, they've talked about the scope of this, because there is no actual plan here, Alex. We know all this. That they're going to be there for several days just bombing a bunch of fucking bullshit, right? This is not going to fucking work. It's not going to fucking do anything, right? The son of the Ayatollah is going to take over, who's already been doing all the duties of the supreme leader. Nothing's really going to change. There's going to be a bunch of IRGC hardliners that would take over as well. This is not going to accomplish anything. This shit is so stupid, man.
For many years you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Genuinely fucking demonic response here. He wants to use the Iranian people as a proxy for boots on the ground in order to depose the government, right? And that makes it extremely rather clear that the intent here is regime change, right? purely at the behest of Israel. Purely at the behest of fucking Israel. Because Israel has been talking about this for like the past, 30 years at this point, that they've been wanting regime change to happen within Iran for God knows how fucking long. Like, years and years and years. How many instances of fucking Benjamin Netanyahu getting on the UN stage to talk about, like, Iran is several years away from a nuke. They are several months away from a nuke. They're a year away from a nuke. They're 30 seconds away from a nuke. And they're going to have a fucking nuke. Blah, 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 blah. But here, just a little bit of fun that we're going to poke at the president. What's this? What's this? Remember that I predicted a long time ago that President Obama will attack Iran because of his inability to negotiate properly? Not skilled. JCPOA happened about a year and a half after this. Here's Stephen Miller. Kamala will send your sons to war. Oops. He's also been talking about how it's a gaggle of neocons who's also going to be doing this. So again, huff that fucking copium. Now that Obama's poll numbers are in a tailspin, watch it for him to launch a strike in Libya or Iran. He is desperate. They did the strikes on Libya about 4 years ago, Trump. Like, they're not going to do another strike on fucking Libya. Very, very cool. Man, his political instincts are really, really astute, even back during the early 2010s. Oh, hold on. He was talking about himself the whole time. Oops. And here, the cherry on top.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Mr. President. You have no ability to be able to negotiate with Iran. He is weak and incredibly ineffective. Or rather, the point was that they were never going to fucking negotiate to begin with. This was always planned and it was always going to happen at the beginning at the behest of Israel. And they've known for months at this point that this operation was going to happen. It was all a farce. It's all for the express purpose of regime change. Never let these motherfuckers ever live that down. But the Democrats, obviously they're a factor in all of this. Now, obviously, here's Chuck Schumer talking about, yes, we're going to talk about Taco Trump. We're not going to have any side deals. This was Chuck Schumer's response after the initial strikes that happened within Iran that basically did nothing to stop the nuclear program. Oh, shocker, I know. Complete fucking goddamn shocker. So we all know about the no side deals, Chuck Schumer type shit. I mostly just want to talk about how Democrats are not your fucking saviors. The National Democrats are wholeheartedly okay with what is going on here, and even some rather important Democrat voices as well. Here, Chuck Schumer. When I talked to Secretary Rubio, I implored him to be straight with Congress and the American people about the objectives of these strikes and what comes next. Iran must never be allowed to obtain a nuclear weapon, but the American people do not want another endless and costly war in the Middle East when there are so many problems at home. Okay, so first off, problem with this. Chuck Schumer is just okay with the strikes in so many words. He doesn't have a problem with the strikes. He's okay with what is going on in Iran. And trust me, the next part of this basically fucking confirms that. The administration has not provided Congress and the American people with critical details about the scope and immediacy of the threat. That's the fucking key line right there. Schumer's okay with what's going on here. He doesn't have much of a problem with this whatsoever. He could give less of a flying fuck. He's okay with the bombing of Iran. Again, Chuck Schumer's whole purpose is to, quote-unquote, keep the left pro-Israel, quote-unquote. Good job at that, Chuck Schumer. You're failing at that very miserably. Like, he even went against pro-Palestinian sentiments that were happening even during the 80s, like with, Reverend Jesse Jackson, rest in peace to a goat, okay? When he was basically talking about being pro-Palestinian, right, in line with fucking civil rights, guess who was trying to stand against that? Oh, Chuck fucking goddamn Schumer, because again, Zionists just completely evil. We'll get to what AOC is saying there, Boy Meets Minnie. But here, also, we got fucking Hakeem Jeffries. Donald Trump promised to keep America out of costly and endless wars. He's now doing the exact opposite. In the Middle East, Congress must vote on a war powers resolution immediately. Donald Trump announced the start of massive and ongoing military operations against Iran. The framers of the U.S. Constitution gave Congress the sole power to declare war as the branch of government closest to the American people. Sorry, doesn't give a fuck, okay? It's very, very obvious and clear that Trump, the Republican Party, could give less of a flying fuck at all about the Constitution. They have made this extremely fucking goddamn clear. So guess what? You need to have more than just a fucking war powers resolution. You have to fucking impeach him at this point. And here's the fucking bullshit. Iran is a bad actor and must be aggressively confronted for its human rights violations. It's the same shit that fucking Carney said. Nuclear ambitions, support for terrorism, and the threat it poses to our allies like Israel and Jordan in the region. However, absent exigent circumstances, the Trump administration must seek authorization for the preemptive use. This shit was not preemptive. No. There's no such thing as a preemptive strike. Get the fuck out of here, right? They're just trying to manufacture consent in order to be able to do regime change in Iran. Fucking Trump made himself very, very clear. Same with, guess who? The Israelis, as well as the national fucking goddamn Democrats, they have made it rather clear that the point of this is regime change. Trump failed to seek congressional authorization prior to striking Iran. This should tell you everything. They don't care about this. They are fine with this. They are okay with Trump striking Iran. If you had such a problem with Congress having the authorization to, have the ability to say, like, you can strike Iran, we voted on it, blah, 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 then you should not have relinquished so much of your power to the executive. Like, it's just so fucking ridiculously obvious. It's like, the national Democrats in positions of power right now are, not giving a shit about this whatsoever. But here, how about another guy? Here is Gruesome Newsom, Gavy Wavy, the sort of Democratic hopeful and, I guess, faithful for the establishment right here, also being totally okay with what is going on in terms of the attacks on Iran. The corrupt and repressive Iranian regime must never have nuclear weapons. The leadership of Iran must go, but that does not justify the President of the United States engaging in an illegal, dangerous war that will risk the lives of our American service members and our friends without justification to the American people. These people are all okay with it. They do not give a flying fuck about any of this stuff whatsoever. All of the main national Democrats, all the neoliberal, centrist dipshits are totally okay with what is going on in Iran. They are happy. If anything, people like Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Gavin Newsom are okay that Trump is the main guy who's going to be taking the fall on this, specifically. But here, what did AOC have to say about this? Let's take a look. My statement on President Trump's combat operations in Iran. American people are once again dragged into a war they did not want by a president who does not care about the long-term consequences of his actions. That's true. This war is unlawful, it is unnecessary, and it will be catastrophic. Just this week, Iran and the United States were negotiating key measures that could have staved off war. The president walked away from those discussions and chose war instead. So far, significantly better in comparison to that of, Chuck Schumer, right? Talking about how Trump is the main guy who decided to walk away from war and making it rather clear that, war kind of fucking bad, actually, guys. Like, nobody fucking wants this shit. Way better than the national fucking Democrats already, and people in leadership. The president walked away from these discussions, chose war instead. President Trump flippantly acknowledged the possibility of American casualties, stating that often happens in war. Mr. President, this was not an inevitability. This is a deliberate choice of aggression when diplomacy and security were within reach. Stop lying to the American people. 3 claps, no notes. Violence begets violence. We learned this lesson in Iraq. We learned this lesson in Afghanistan, and we're about to learn it again in Iran. Bombs have yet to create enduring democracies in the region, and this will be no different. In moments of war, our Constitution is unambiguous. Congress authorizes wars. The president does not. I will do my part to uphold our Constitution by voting yes on Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massey's War Powers Resolution. Every member of Congress must join us in rejecting this aimless war. 3 claps, no notes. Pretty much fucking perfect. Laying the blame squarely on Donald Trump and talking about, you didn't have to do this war, you could have fucking avoided it, you could have done diplomacy, yet you didn't. Whereas with Chuck Schumer, he didn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. But here, another presidential sort of hopeful, we have Kamala Harris. We're going to take a look at her response. Donald Trump is dragging the United States into a war the American people do not want. Let me be clear. I'm opposed to a regime change war in Iran, and our troops are being put in harm's way for the sake of Trump's war of choice. Full statement. Dragging the war into a war the American people don't want. She's opposed. Unnecessary and dangerous gamble with American lives that also jeopardizes stability in the region and our standing in the world. What are we witnessing is not strength. It is recklessness dressed up as resolved. I know the threat that Iran poses. Listen, she was doing well there, but then, talking about, I know the threat that Iran poses. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this is better than Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and also Gavin Newsom. It's more clear that she doesn't think that strikes on Iran is going to be really effective, but more than likely she wanted to do diplomacy, probably renegotiate a way into the JCPOA, which Joe Biden never did. Piece of shit. But making it more clear that, how about... No, I don't think this is a great idea, guys. But, this, I know the threat that Iran poses. It's not great. Optically speaking, she's doing this because she's a bit more of a centrist, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is better in comparison to that of Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Gavin Newsom. This is better. During the campaign, Donald Trump promised to end wars rather than start them. It was a lie. Then last year, he said we obliterated Iran's nuclear program. That, too, was a lie. And let us all be clear-eyed about what comes next. The president has already said this conflict may produce American casualties. Doug and I will be praying for all our brave servicemen and women who we know are undertaking dangerous missions with exceptional skill, discipline, and precision. Yada, yada, yada. Troops, Constitution, blah, 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 blah. I'll say this. I'll give Kamala Harris a little bit of credit because the bar is on the absolute floor. It's not the worst response. I think it's pretty decent. Not terrible, all things considered. Making it rather clear that regime change in Iran, not going to fucking work. This is going to be a terrible idea, and it's not going to work out as the president is saying. He's lying about the nuclear program. Talking about the threat that Iran poses, the JCPOA was doing a perfect job at being able to sort of, curtail the threat that Iran was posing, obviously. But Kamala Harris, I think, is indicating that she would have been interested in restoring the JCPOA in some form or fashion, maybe in line with that of what Obama had in mind. And she's making it rather clear that the current path is pretty fucking terrible. So, in terms of all the responses here, I would say it's in the middle. It's in the middle of AOC's good response and the dog shit that the current leadership of the Democrats are currently talking about. Because we all know Chuck Schumer was against the JCPOA. But here, probably one of the best responses by Zoran Mamdani. Today's military strikes on Iran, carried out by the United States and Israel, mark a catastrophic escalation in an illegal war of aggression. Bombing cities, killing civilians, opening a new theater of war. Americans do not want this. They do not want another war in pursuit of regime change. They want release from the affordability crisis. They want peace. And then he's talking about, here's what we're going to do to keep New Yorkers safe. 3 claps, no notes. Excellent work, Zoran Mamdani. So listen, a lot of politicians having significantly better responses in comparison to that of the National fucking Party of the Democrats, who are completely fucking worthless. I'm telling you, the current leadership that exists right now within the Democratic Party, they are totally okay with going along with literally everything, and I mean everything, that is happening within Iran. They're okay with the bombing. They are okay with the casualties. They are okay with the killing and maiming of fucking children. Speaking of killing and maiming of fucking children, here, 51 Iranian children have been killed, 60 students after a joint U.S.-Israeli strikes hit a girls' school in Iran. So, I mean, Israel is doing their favorite thing, and that is bombing fucking children. You love to fucking see it. And of course, there has been a lot of Iranian retaliations. You know, besides, we've talked about all of these strikes that have happened between with the U.S.-Israeli strikes. Of course, Israel always has to have an opportunity to bomb children whenever they can. That is, again, their favorite activity. But they have also done a bunch of bombings of military assets, intelligence, drone production, missile production, missile defense production, also the nuclear sites. I think like Isfahan, for example, got hit again, where it's the site of one of the nuclear sites for the Iranians, right? But again, like any opportunity that the Israelis can take to bomb children, they will gladly fucking take it. They will always take it because they love doing that shit. Of course, there has been a lot of Iranian retaliations. As they have said themselves, they are going to go ham, and they're going to start attacking U.S. bases throughout the Middle East. Here, in Iraq, air base in Erbil, Iraq. We also have attacks on, what is this, the Burj Al Arab, which also got struck by an Iranian drone, if I were to take a guess. It might have been a drone that got shot down, probably then ended up hitting the fucking goddamn hotel by accident, if I were to take a guess, because they've mostly just been, well, hitting military targets like airports, like air bases, and hitting a bunch of different various naval bases as well. Here, large explosion rocks Qatar's capital, Doha. I believe this was an intercepted missile by the American air base that's in the area, which got intercepted, taken out, and then fell. Well, the debris of the missile fell and caused a massive explosion in Doha. So, of course, we're mostly just talking about how there is a massive, and I mean a massive retaliation here by the IRGC, making it rather clear that they are not okay with this bullshit. And here, another attack on the Dubai International Airport, which, again, very often, airports, logistical nodes for fucking aircraft. Very, very often, they are used for even housing military planes. Sometimes. Depends on the airport, of course. Where a lot of militaries and logistical nodes are used in order to bring in fucking, well, maybe items? Equipment, in order to be able to, take that to respective bases. Yada, yada, yada. So it makes a lot of sense. That the Iranians are also hitting sites like this. And this is the U.S. military base that has been, I believe, overwhelmed by all of the Iranian drones, all the missile attacks that are also happening in Bahrain, another air base that's also in the area. Big old explosions, right? Tons of different strikes, lots and lots of, well, missiles being launched by the Iranians, which, by the way, in terms of like the cost, I guess, per missile, like to defend, for the U.S. to defend using Patriots against all of these missiles for interceptions, it's very, very fucking expensive, right? Shaheds are very cheap. A lot of Iranian missiles are also fucking cheap, whereas with Patriot missiles, very, very fucking expensive. I think it's like $4 million a fucking missile. That's all U.S. taxpayer money. That's all taxpayer money that's going into hitting a bunch of, like, dinky little fucking bottle rockets, effectively. Well, maybe not, like, dinky little bottle rockets, but, like, yeah, Patriots are expensive, yeah. $4 million per missile. Very, very fucking expensive. And guess what? It's all being used to hit, I don't know, like, maybe some, like, dinky-ass drones out of the sky. Very, very fucking cool. But here, like, conservatives are obviously being incredibly dishonest about this because they're all stupid. Talking about, like, I can't believe that that Iran is striking a bunch of Muslim-inhabited nations on Ramadan. How could they fucking do this, right? Dishonestly bringing up this, like, ridiculous fucking framing. Like, hey, dumbass, a bunch of American military bases are operating in those fucking goddamn countries, and that's what they're hitting, idiot. They're not hitting civilian fucking assets. Stupid. I don't know, like, what else is there to really say? Whoa, Cam Higbee and all the other conservatives bringing this up, quote-unquote, fucking burn is really fucking stupid. Shocker, I know. But in terms of interesting sort of developments, further developments, of course. We have Reza Pahlavi. Reza Pahlavi is the exile of the fucking Shah, one of the last known sort of remnants of the fucking Shah. And he's been talking about how he wants the line of Iran to essentially be, well, restored and to have himself put back on the throne of, well, the Islamic Republic, right? That he wants the regime change to fucking happen, so then he gets put back on the fucking goddamn throne. That's what he wants to do.
هم میهنان عزیزم لحظاتی سرنوشت‌ساز پیش روی ماست. کمکی که رئیس جمهور ایالات متحده به مردم شجاع ایران وعده داده بود اکنون رسیده است. این یک مداخله بشردوستانه است و هدف آن جمهوری اسلامی دست.
Some humanitarian intervention that's going on here, Reza. Yeah, dude, very humanitarian where a bunch of like school children are being fucking killed. Yeah, very humanitarian, by the way.
گاه سرکوب و ماشین کشتار آن است، نه کشور و ملت بزرگ ایران. اما با وجود رسیدن این کمک، پیروزی نهایی همچنان به دست ما رقم خواهد خورد. این ما ملت ایران.
So, by the way, he is also using the same framing of Trump here specifically. He wants to basically utilize his people as proxies in order to conduct the fucking regime change. But that shit's not gonna fucking work, right? A lot of the manufacturing of consent has not been done, broadly speaking. When the IRGC are going to start to clamp down, yeah, sure, like, they've taken a bunch of damage, but they're going to clamp down on this specifically. They're going to try to basically push in order to have more repressive measures against the Iranian people. This is not going to work out as well as the Trump administration thinks it will, because he's trying to basically, as Reza is also saying here, he wants the Iranian people to rise up along with American air power in order to be able to support regime change of the country. That's not going to fucking work. That's not how that works, right? Because again, like, you take the head off of the snake, what happens? It's going to start wriggling around. It's going to be incredibly violent, right? With what we're going to be talking about relatively soon, if the leadership does get taken out, what happens? There's going to be a lot of infighting with the current power structures that be. There's going to be a vacuum that is going to be left here. And is Reza going to be able to take over? Like, what is his popularity in Iran proper itself? That's ultimately questionable, right? Most of the cheering and support of Reza Pahlavi are coming from a bunch of expats from Iran. Now, people are talking about how there are Iranians cheering all over the world. That's all over the world. How many are cheering within Iran in terms of the strikes that the United States and the Israelis are conducting? That's the ultimate real question. And none of them really ever show any displays of that specifically. They'll go to like certain like universities and cherry pick out a couple of clips. But what is the actual approval rating of the strikes? We don't really have any polling on that. We don't know. We don't have that information. But it's not going to stop the conservatives from, well, jumping to fucking ridiculous conclusions. Because they love jumping to fucking ridiculous conclusions whenever they can. Constantly. So to just say that they are going to be for this sort of, well, action that is happening right now is fucking ridiculous. The Iranians that all live abroad are not going to have the same feelings as Iranians that live in the actual country itself. Yeah, it's a good point, Boy Meets Mini. It's like how Indian Americans are super pro-Modi, while Indians back home aren't so much. That's a great fucking goddamn point, Boy Meets Mini. It turns out class distinctions matter a lot in terms of all this, because most of the Indian Americans that are super pro-Modi tend to be fucking Brahminites.
که در این آخرین نبرد کار را تمام خواهیم کرد. زمان بازگشت به خیابان‌ها نزدیک است. اکنون که جمهوری اسلامی در حال فروپاشی است، پیام من به نیروهای نظامی، انتظامی و امنیتی کشور روشن است. شما سوگند خورده اید حافظ ایران و ملت ایران باشید، نه حافظ جمهوری اسلامی و سرکردگانش. وظیفه شما دفاع از مردم است، نه دفاع از رژیمی که با سرکوب و جنایت میهن ما را.
The immediate problem that I have with this is I don't know how popular he is with the military leadership in Iran, right? We have no idea. For example, The reason why Delcy Rodriguez was kept in place in Venezuela after Nicolas Maduro basically got kidnapped by the United States of America is because the military leadership within Venezuela made it such that, no, we like the Bolivarians staying in power. We do not want Maria Corina Machado, right? They said that, and Delcy Rodriguez stayed in power as a result. Crazy, I know. Whoa, what a radical, ridiculous thing to happen. And also the fact that, well, Maria Corina Machado also did not just kiss the ring of Donald Trump and basically just gave him the Nobel Peace Prize immediately, when that's not how that works. But, whatever. Very, very, very fucking stupid. It's one of those situations where it's just like, does this guy have a lot of contacts with the current IRGC and military leadership that's in Iran? We have no fucking idea. Because let's say Ayatollah Khamenei gets killed, put an asterisk in that, and he gets put into a position of power, and the regime change is successful. What happens? The military is just going to fucking coup him and get rid of him and implement some other fucking dude instead, because he's not going to have the support.
گروگان گرفته است. به ملت بپیوندید و به یک گذار باثبات و امن کمک کنید. در غیر این صورت با کشتی در همشکسته خامنه‌ای و رژیمش غرق خواهید شد. و پیام من به رئیس جمهور ایالات متحده پرزیدنت ترامپ این است. ملت شریف ایران با وجود سرکوب و کشتار وحشیانه این رژیم نزدیک به 2 ماه با دلاوری ایستادگی کرد. اینک از شما می‌خواهم بیشترین احتیاط ممکن را برای حفظ جان غیر نظامیان و هم‌میهنانم به کار ببرید.
That already seems to be a fucking big fucking goddamn failure there. So I don't think they're going to be doing a really, really great job in preserving the lives of the civilians and your compatriots. They literally bombed an all-girls school. So I don't think that's happening, buddy.
مردم ایران متحدان طبیعی شما و جهان آزادند و یاری شما در سخت‌ترین دوره تاریخ معاصر ایران را فراموش نخواهند کرد. و به شما هم‌میهنان عزیزم در ایران، در این ساعت‌ها و روزهای حساس بیش از هر زمان دیگر باید بر هدف نهایی خود متمرکز بمانید. باز پس گرفتن ایران. من از شما می‌خواهم
We need you to be used as proxies instead of having American boots on the ground in order to take over the government instead, so then I can be put back in power, is essentially what he's fucking saying. Because that's literally the point of all of this. He just wants to be put in power on the throne of Iran. That is literally it.
که در حال حاضر در خانه‌های خود بمانید و آرامش و امنیت خود را حفظ کنید. هوشیار و آماده باشید تا در زمان مناسب که به طور دقیق به اطلاع شما خواهم رساند برای اقدام نهایی به خیابان‌ها بازگردید. پیام‌های من را از طریق شبکه‌های اجتماعی و رسانه‌های ماهواره‌ای دنبال کنید. اگر در اینترنت و ماهواره اختلال ایجاد شد، از طریق امواج رادیویی با شما در تماس خواهم بود. ما به پیروزی نهایی بسیار نزدیکیم. می‌خواهم هر چه زودتر در کنار شما باشم تا با هم ایران را پس بگیریم و دوباره بسازیم. پاینده ایران.
Not gonna fucking happen, probably. There's, again, just no evidence whatsoever that he's going to have the approval of the military or of the people of Iran. So a bunch of other allies, I suppose, within the European Union are also getting in on the fun as well. Here is Kier Starmer also deciding to get in on the fun with the military adventurism of the United States and fucking Israel. Like, who the fuck really cares about what he says? Like, oh yes, we will be using the RAF in order to help the Israelis bomb a bunch of people. Very, very cool, very good. Just to tell you how, again, allies, they don't really give much of a shit at all. They are all also okay with what is going on in terms of the war with Iran. This is very similar to that of Libya. Again, real quick, with Mark Carney. Mark Carney also said something rather fucking similar in terms of the war with Iran, in terms of his fucking statement here. Just grab that real quick. He basically said that, what is going on here, we're totally okay with. Very similar to that of what the Democrats have also said, that overall, no fucking problems whatsoever in terms of the war, the attempted regime change that's going on here. We don't give a shit about any of that. We're going to hyper-focus and criticize Iran's human rights fucking sort of record, when in reality it's just like, okay, dog, like, first off, Canada has our own fucking human rights record, okay? Problems. Look at how we treat indigenous people, and we still sell weapons to fucking Israel. So, can it right there. Not to mention also the foreign workers program. Amnesty International has said that shit's tantamount to slavery. So Canada, in terms of the human rights stuff, you liberals don't actually give much of a flying fuck about any of this stuff. And he's basically parroting all of the exact same points of, oh, they're the state sponsors of terror, they're really bad, and we're actually kind of okay with what's going on here in terms of the war. So, well, it turns out that fucking speech at Davos with the WEF, which was, again, a good fucking speech, and all the actions that he is using in order to be able to, quote-unquote, gather all the middle countries to form an effective trading bloc to resist the hegemonic powers, was all for diddly fucking squat. Because guess what? Iran also has to be included in that fucking conversation. Whether you fucking like it or not. But I guess we have to make exceptions for the Iranians. Oopsie. But with the thing that I have been alluding to this whole time, ever since the fucking beginning of the video itself, Ayatollah Khamenei has been killed in this bombing campaign. Khamenei, one of the most evil people in America, is dead. This is not only justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. Trump, I know that you're a fucking dumbass, but Khamenei was a stabilizing force within the Middle East. Saudi Arabia was okay with an Ayatollah Khamenei being around. Same with everyone else within the Middle East. Because guess what? All those proxies that you people are having such concerns about, you want to know why those guys have been holding back? It's because of the Ayatollah telling them to hold back. He was a stabilizing force throughout the Middle East. Now, what's going to happen? This is a point specifically brought up by Bell the Ranch consistently. What's going to happen with him being gone? Those limiters are going to be taken off, and it's only going to cause way more fucking tensions to be inflamed in the region, and for more sort of, well, issues to essentially occur. So it's not going to fucking happen. It's only going to make everything fucking worse. There's going to be way more fucking chaos. There's going to be way more tensions, and the proxies are going to be doing more attacks on what? Oh, American fucking bases. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems. Apparently, Claude, the, well, system from Anthropic, yeah, that was also used to apparently track down Ayatollah Khamenei. It'd fucking kill him. I thought that shit was fucking banned, Trump. Like, what happened? So you're using that shit like several hours after you fucking banned that shit? Oopsie daisy. And working closely with Israel, there was not a thing he or the other leaders that have been killed, I think it's like 40 of them, along with him could do. This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. Again, telling the Iranian protesters to please be used as our proxy to, well, essentially help us take over the goddamn country and do our regime change for us, basically. Genuinely fucking demonic, obviously. We are hearing that many of their IRGC military and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us. Like, for what exactly? What crimes did they specifically fucking commit to have to warrant immunity? What, exist? Like, what are they like, I mean, it's just so fucking stupid, bro. It's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense, man. As I said last night, now they can have immunity. Later, they only get death. So you're just gonna, like, do, like, a fucking cleansing of all the military personnel or something? Very, very cool, Trump. Very, very cool. Hopefully the IRGC and police will peacefully merge with the Iranian patriots and work together as a unit to bring back the country to the greatness it deserves. Not gonna fucking happen. Like, there's no way that's gonna fucking happen. If anything, it's just gonna make everything worse. That process should be starting in that not only the death of Khamenei, but the country has been, in only one day, very much destroyed and even obliterated. So here's the thing with Trump specifically. He doesn't understand how regime change works. Similar to what he did with, specifically, the leader of Venezuela, that being Nicolas Maduro. He thinks that if you just chop the head of the off of the snake, then it just works, and it basically fixes everything and is put in place. Not how that fucking works. There are a lot of mechanisms in case, well, the head leader of the dictatorship gets taken out. There's always going to be someone ready to take their place. Just cutting the snake off of the head still leaves the body wiggling around and is inherently dangerous. It's not going to fucking work, man. It's not going to work with the Mexican cartels. It's not going to work with the Bolivarians in Venezuela. It's not going to work when they inevitably try to do this also in fucking Cuba. Because Cuba is going to be next. I guarantee it. Like, this is going to do absolutely fucking nothing. The heavy and pinpoint bombing, however, will continue uninterrupted throughout the week or as long as necessary to achieve our objective of peace throughout the Middle East and indeed the world. Highly nebulous objective. It clearly shows that these motherfuckers have literally no idea. They just want to kill Ayatollah Khamenei and then just ask some fucking goddamn questions later. And here's the fucking thing. Like, confirming all of this, Reuters has confirmed that the state TV has also confirmed it, so they're not lying. They definitely got them. But here's what's going to fucking happen. Nothing's going to change. Son of the late Supreme Leader, Mojtaba Khamenei has been named the new Supreme Leader. Oh, the son just fucking took over, and not much is probably going to fucking change in terms of the leadership structure. Shocker. And he was already the guy running everything behind the scenes. Because Ayatollah Khamenei, he's really fucking old. And basically served as a sort of religious fucking figurehead right now. Like, just taking him out ultimately fucking accomplishes nothing. Because guess what? Oh, there was already a guy ready in order to be able to fucking take that over. Stupid. Like, literally, it did nothing. Nothing accomplished. Like, as is being said here, in true U.S. fashion, they overthrew Khamenei to be replaced by Khamenei. Remember Afghanistan? Remember Venezuela? Remember all the other fucking regime changes that have recently have been happening by the United States? It literally accomplished nothing. Here's some interesting information here. Trump wanted regime change. His own CIA told him killing Khamenei might make things worse. He did it. Might make things worse. He did it anyway. Now here's the thing with Mario Nawfal. I think this guy's a bit of a dipshit. A bit of like the chud-leaning sort of conservative crypto type. There's actually some pretty decent points here that this dude is fucking raising here. The assessment was produced 2 weeks ago. If Khamenei dies, hardline IRGC commanders are likely to take over. Men whose entire identity is military, not theological. Men with no interest in diplomacy, no clerical legitimacy to protect, and no political pressure valve, right? The only reason why these guys were kept in check was because of Ayatollah Khamenei. It's the same point that I said with the proxies. Ayatollah Khamenei was the moderating force keeping these guys in check. Essentially what Trump is doing with the killing of Ayatollah Khamenei, with, his son essentially now replacing him as the new supreme leader, is going to make it such that it is more likely for everything to descend into military dictatorship, and that they're going to just hunker down and want to fight even more. This ultimately has done what? Absolutely fucking nothing. This has been a complete fucking failure. Khamenei is 85. He's a cleric. He operates through religious authority, political maneuvering, and calculated restraint. The IRGC operates through guns. This is the Iraq lesson America never learned. Kill Saddam, get ISIS, destabilize the top, and unleash something worse from below. It's the same thing that I have been saying with the cartels, with Venezuela, although we don't necessarily know if Delcy Rodriguez is necessarily worse from below. Whatever. It's the exact same thing as everyone has been fucking saying on the left when it comes to, deposing Ayatollah Khamenei. That this is going to accomplish nothing. Some other dude is going to take over. Some hardliners are going to take over. And they're more than likely going to be significantly more aggressive with the United States of America. The CIA say, don't do it. They said, don't assume killing the leader ends the regime. Iran is a system not held together by one man. The supreme leader is the face of it. The IRGC is the skeleton. Trump told the Iranian people tonight to seize the moment and rise up. But if Khamenei is dead and the IRGC takes control, the people rising up won't be facing an aging Ayatollah. They could be facing soldiers with nothing left to lose. And this is the exact point that I raised earlier. If the IRGC are the main guys, if they just kill fucking Khamenei, they're going to be facing a bunch of fucking soldiers with guns who are more likely to just start fucking shooting on sight. It's going to only get significantly worse. So, which is why it is particularly evil that Trump is essentially using the Iranian people as the proxy boots on the ground for the Americans in this attempt at a fucking regime change. This is a complete, utter disaster. Final fucking meme in terms of all of this. We have to fucking include our favorite Roach man. We have to make fun of the fucking Roach, because obviously he thinks this is based. And that he's very happy that this has happened. Since Asmongold is a fucking moron, barely researches anything, is an avowed anti-intellectual who has said that he formulates his opinions based off of his timeline, his subreddit, and also human psychology. You're trusting this fucking barely passing, barely literate dumbass who dropped out of fucking college to have an understanding of human psychology. Yeah, okay, bro. To be able to have a principled geopolitical fucking take? Whoa, who would have thought?
Yeah, no, it's a total blowout. Like, I am so happy this has happened. I am just dramatically, tremendously happy this has happened. I know that...
1 second. What's this? 2024, we're too interventionary. We get too involved in people's business. It's a waste of our money. Asmongold, you have some explaining to do. This was only 2 years ago. And you decided to completely flip the script on it. As soon as your main guy decides to get into power, all of a sudden, oh, you're all for war with Iran. That's a little fucking interesting. Why don't we take a look?
I think that we play too big of a role in other countries' military shit. Like, we're too interventionary. We get too involved into other people's business.
Keep in mind, this was while Biden was still in power.
It's a waste of our money. The people there probably fucking hate us. Like, where's really the upside here, right? Just stay out of it. Yeah, exactly. Now, I'm not saying, like, we should be totally isolationist, but I think that the level that, like, that we try to play nation building, especially in places like this, like, you know, like Libya, for example, back in the day. What the fuck? Or Iraq. No, absolutely not. Yeah, it's too much, man. Way too much.
Well, you're telling me that Asmongold is a complete fucking hypocrite and he believes in fucking nothing. Who would have fucking thought that this stupid fucking Roach, who basically bases his takes off of his Twitter timeline and human psychology, is a fucking liar?
That, you know, obviously I've talked about it for a long time, about how big of a problem Iran is and everything. I was a big supporter of us bombing them before, and now we're bombing them again, and this is just amazing. Hopefully...
Wait, hold on. I need to listen to that again.
Is, and talked about it for a long time, about how big of a problem Iran is.
By the way, he's lying here. He's been very, very okay with a lot of the bombings that specifically Trump has been doing. He's been okay with the bombings of the Houthis. He's been okay with the bombings of the Palestinians being done by, the fucking goddamn Trump administration. Because it's his guy that's doing the bombings and not the guys that he does not like. He's just a fucking liar, dude. He's full of fucking shit.
And everything. I was a big supporter of us bombing them before, and now we're bombing them again, and this is just amazing. Hopefully this is going to be the end of it, right? And so
it won't be.
Same, thank goodness. Exactly, man. And we'll look at some of the other things that have happened, but it's just been a total and complete blowout.
Total and complete blowout. He's very happy about this. As expected from Asmongold, he believes in nothing and is just a complete, utter fucking hypocrite. But I wouldn't expect anything less from the dude who gets his takes from his Twitter timeline, subreddit, and the basic, maybe not even basic, understanding that he has of human psychology. What else is there to really say? What else is there to say? War with Iran, yet again. or at this point, it is an actual war with Iran. It's not just a bombing campaign that's being carried out by the United States alongside Israel. But now, the United States is officially at war with Iran. Period. End of story. History has a funny way of rhyming and not repeating. A line that I have said consistently on this channel before, and I'll keep saying it over and over and over again. This is ultimately going to accomplish absolutely fucking nothing. And this may be the thing that ultimately breaks the American nation state. It is going to be Iran. Because Iran is going to make Iraq and Afghanistan look like a fucking cakewalk. Iran is a fairly well-developed country. It is not a third world sort of, backwater country in comparison to that of Afghanistan and Iraq. Obviously, they've been like that for a lot of fucking complicated reasons, but I digress. This is going for what Trump to basically get in terms of achieving his goals that he has not really stated whatsoever is going to require a level of investment that is going to pale in comparison to that of what went into the occupations of both Iraq and Afghanistan, and is going to be a complete fucking disaster for the American people. But then again, he's doing all of this at the behest of Israel because he's just a fucking old, addled fucking dipshit who wants to have some form of a legacy secured for himself. That is literally it. Trump only cares about one thing and one thing only, and that is lining the pockets of all of his billionaire buddies on fucking Wall Street. Because guess what? All those military contractors, and by the way, he did all this shit while the fucking markets are closed, so they can't have a reaction to any of this. So, of course, inherently dishonest in terms of that as well. Obviously. But all the military contractors are salivating. They're happy. Israel is also happy about this. And also all the crazed fucking evangelical fucking freaks. A minority of a minority of a minority of the rest of the fucking world who is definitely going to be against all of this bullshit. Don't think there's really much else to say besides free Iran. Trump is in the Epstein files. And this shit is so fucking goddamn soy.